first of all, well, making this kind of service is critical for us, for the Civil Service Office here in Uruguay, because we are creating data that is not existent in our country so far. So this is, for example, the first survey we have in our country that asks about motivation in public servants or for public servants. So the aim of this office is to increase this kind of studies, which many of them we like to feel that give voice to public servants. So I would like to stress on 2 points, two main points. First of all, the collaboration between the World Bank and the Civil Service Office. We all believe that it was critical for the success of the survey implementation. Firstly, in designing which entities and the target population we were going to focus on. These 15 ministers, the public companies, some others, public organizations related to the welfare state. So the designing of the survey was really a moment of great collaboration between us. Secondly, of course, in the necessary adjustments we had to make to the survey. From our part, it was really important to keep the idea that even though the survey has to be adapted to the terminology, the local terminology, the Uruguay legal structure, and so on, it is an international survey with a comparative objective in somehow. So we have to adjust it, but keep the nature of the survey. So then, of course, during the implementation and at the moment of writing the report with Serena and some other colleagues, I think, or we all think here in the office, that communication with a different public organization was really critical for how the survey was implemented. We communicate in advance to all human resource areas in the ministries, in the other public organizations. We presented them the objectives of the survey, the main questions, and so on. So preparing the field to go to the ministers and have a good response rate. Communication had a lot to do with, because of course there's always some kind of fear among public servants about what they are going to ask me, and if this is anonymous or not. So present this in advance was really important for the success. So I mean, we evaluate this as something very positive for our agency. It not only allows us to gather some new data, but also to put our team in contact with some of World Bank specialists, which is always important to motivate the staff, and to see what type of studies are being done abroad. So for our own agency, going through this process is a process of learning and also of motivation. That as a general context of the work we have carried out together, which, by the way, it caught the media attention for a week or so. It was part of the public agenda because some of data brought attention to journalists and so on. But the most important thing I would like to stress is that this survey and the information of this kind help us to support our reform agenda. And that's probably the most important thing for us. In the first place, because the survey shed light to some issues that are common knowledge within the administration, but now we are putting numbers to it. Now we have some numbers about problems that Serena mentioned. For example, the lack of mobility, the inequalities in remunerations, the problems of promotion, the problem of absenteeism, which it was not something we didn't expect to find out that public workers are concerned, or in that level anyway, are concerned about absenteeism as an issue. I think at least here in in this office, we didn't expect to have these numbers in terms of the issue of absenteeism. So we are putting numbers to this, and this really helps to make our case, let's say, in terms of the reform agenda we are trying to push forward in terms of a new civil service career based on occupations. We are trying to design for next year, hopefully, a new performance evaluation system. Of course, we are, as many countries as well, we are trying to push forward the digital agenda. We have some good advance there, but we have to push forward even more. So this survey is a great baseline in terms of the perception of workers, and it tells us that we are somehow aligned with the perception and the issues that the public workers believe or have, and the public policies we are trying to push forward in government. So the data we collect is not to be left aside at all. It's not for us just another survey, just another data we have. On the contrary, it helps us to make our case, as I was saying, in terms of reform that our country needs. I also know that some of these numbers and some of these figures are already used by the academy. So maybe we are also promoting some more knowledge as derived from the survey. So again, we are really happy to be part of this process. We're looking forward to work with the World Bank again in this type of studies. And well, not much for my part. I mean, just thanking the work you have done, and we are also all the time trying to connect how this survey, we can use data from this survey to at the time of presenting some government paper or discussing with some representative, senator, minister, and so on. Presenting this kind of data is now one of the pillars we use to present our reforms here in Uruguay even. So this kind of data help us in different ways. For example, in the negotiation or the talkings with unions. Yes, because in some cases, one thing is what unions are saying, and one thing is what this kind of service are saying. So in a way, we have a direct channel with the workers' perceptions that are not always the same as what unions are saying or what unions are talking with the government. So I think that we have here some data that help us to go to the perception of individual public servants. Of course, also for the discussion and negotiations with the government, and the government is not a unified actor. One thing is a Ministry of Finance preoccupied by budget, and reforms are not crazy in terms of budget and so on. And a different thing is a Ministry of Health, Education, Agriculture, and so on. For example, when Serena presented that there are a lot of inequalities in terms of remuneration, what we are saying is that there are winners and losers within the administration. We have some rich ministers, some poor ministers, and some others in the middle of them. So when we try to implement this kind of reforms, we are altering this kind of winning and losing between ministers, between public organizations. And as Lavinia was saying, this is very delicate. It involves a lot of negotiation. And having this data, of course, it does not resolve the problem, the issue, or anything like that, but it helps us to present, look, you're one of the richest ministers here. You can make an effort for the poor minister, or your workers are not having the promotions they need. We have to make some policy within your organization to be sure that promotions are being done, or recruitment, or so on. So I think it helped us to have a voice of public servants, not only unions, which are of course very important, but it's not the only one, and then to talk within government about what we are doing, what we want to what we are want to do.